What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Joystick Ayrton. Today we're talking about the Ally X. What could be better, what could be worse? So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so it's been a couple weeks since we put a video out, and I have fallen headfirst into another hobby disaster, rebuilding my Xbox, my 360, my Xbox One catalog with the original consoles, the Duke controller, just Unreal Championship, Phantom Crash, Knights of the Old Republic. I've stumbled into just really enjoying retro and emulation because I just think most games suck nowadays. But with that being said, we'll talk about all of that stuff in a future video. Today we're talking all about the ROG Ally X. It's been a little while. It's been out for a couple weeks now. Most of the views and videos have come and have gone, and there's a lot of things that I think are important to take from it. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so I want to start this video off with a few disclaimers. Number one, I do not have an ROG Ally X, I do not have an ROG Ally, and I do not intend on getting either one of them. Number two, I, for the most part, do not like ASUS as a company. Let's go back about 5 years. I would have told you the absolute best. Buy everything ASUS. I now swap some letters in and out. Maybe an N here, maybe not, but you get the point. I'm a little biased, and the reason that is because I've had such bad experience over the last 3 years. I had an upside down motherboard. That thing was $700. A fire hazard, a nightmare building a water-cooled system for the board to just be incredibly faulty from just the biggest shenanigans on the planet. Thankfully, Micro Center took care of me, and I didn't have to go through ASUS's RMA shenanigans. It was just a nightmare. But besides that, I had 3 faulty ROG Allies, 1 bad trigger, 1 bad bumper, a bad stick, and an SD card reader. So overall, I just had a bad experience recently. That's not to say I haven't had bad experiences with other companies. This is just the most recent one. So with that being said, I try to tailor my experience with what I'm talking about throughout the video. So I'm going to talk about the ROG Ally X, what I think is good, what I think is bad, what can be improved, and more importantly, all of the information that is out there for you guys to watch, Retro Game Corps, Nerd Nest, the Phawx, because I think things are a little skewed. So let's talk about that. Okay, so let's get the 2 easy ones out of the way. You got ergonomics and you got performance. We're going to get performance out of the way. Everybody wants to know, is it better? It's practically the same. The only difference between the Ally and the Ally X and the Legion GO is the 8 gigs of RAM and slightly faster RAM on the Ally X. More is always the merrier, depending on what the price difference is, and I think it's a relatively reasonable price, especially with the battery upgrade in there, so I think that is a good thing. You're going to see more improvement in games that are newer. Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, anything kind of 2020 and older, you really aren't going to need all that performance from the RAM. It's not going to help you drastically in any way, shape, or form. Hell, half of the titles are locked at 60 FPS anyway. Newer titles, you will see a performance bump, but you're really looking more like 3 to 5%. If you have some crazy scenario, you might see 8, but it's highly unlikely, so just keep that in mind. I do always think that more is merrier. It just depends on what that price gap is for you. I'm going to lose my mind over this thing disconnecting. The next thing I wanted to talk about is about the ergonomics. This is subjective. You're going to have a different opinion than me based on a lot of different factors. Weight, the size of your hands, where buttons are laid out. I think these channels that talk about ergonomics for 45 minutes, I just kind of want to bash my head in the wall for a little while, because I can tell you in 45 seconds, and then you still are going to need to have an opinion on your own at the end of the day. So the best thing that you can do is get your hands on the device. Go into Best Buy, hold a Legion GO, an Ally X, an Ally, and see what feels the best for you. Maybe you want to buy something on Marketplace, see if they'll let you hold it and see if you like it or not before you actually end up purchasing it. So subjective, barely different. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so this is kind of the meat and potatoes of the video, but as I was watching everybody's videos, most of the things came down to, let's talk about the software, let's talk about Armory Crate. Well, all of that stuff is going to hit the Ally. It's not going to be a drastic difference between the two. What you're really looking at here is the performance, which, depending on the title, is a little variable, and then the battery life. That's what everybody was really excited about. Is it worth it? I think that $130 to $150 difference is worth it, especially if you find it on an open box deal. But this is where I'm just kind of curious what everybody else thought. I've watched everybody's videos, ETA Prime, the Nerd Nest, the Phawx, Retro Game Corps, and it seems to me that some people just aren't testing things very well. And I don't mean to call anybody out, so I'm not going to name the channel, but they only tested games for maybe 10 minutes and then just did the math. So math isn't always completely accurate when there's variations. Things go up, things go down, devices get hot, fans ramp up, things in the game change. So they just claiming sometimes 2 hours and 45 minutes of battery life when another channel, an influential channel with 100,000+ subscribers, smaller than the other one, but would then have that same game. They would actually play it from start to finish, 100% battery life down to low battery mode, and it would be a completely different number. It would be more like an hour and 55 minutes compared to 2 hours and 45 minutes. So what I really wanted this video to be is the Ally X is awesome. If you're looking at a Windows-based handheld, you want the best, that's the one to get. It can be subjective. If you want a bigger screen, the Legion GO, whatever it may be. But man, really do your research, because not everybody is going to give the best information. Now, some things can come here or there. What that might mean is, let's say, I give you the parameters of my testing, but I've done it the exact same way on everything. You can trust most of that, even if it's a little skewed. And that skew might not be intentional in any way, shape, or form. That skew might be, I'm not really a hardware, battery testing internals kind of guy. I'm more of the overall thing. So I don't actually go as in depth as Gamers Nexus, which nobody can do, or even to the extent that the Phawx goes. So I think that's really important. I think watching some videos could skew people. The battery life is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. An 80 watt-hour battery is better than like anything else on the market. It's not 2.5 times better than the Steam Deck, which has been being claimed. It's just not. The Steam Deck is so incredibly efficient, and you can't really test the two in the exact same parameters being on completely different chips. There are so many variables that have to be accounted for. So I think that is incredibly important. Let's go ahead and wrap this whole thing up. I've had a really hard time thinking of what to name this a video, and I think really kind of the best idea I have is what you should know about the Ally X, or what you don't know about the Ally X, because everything is just pushed a little bit of a different way, and everybody has their own opinions, and it's hard to tell, who's influenced by what, and everybody has their biases. They're always going to, but things don't always add up. And it sounds kind of hypocritical because I don't even have the device. But I just know that math does not always tell you the full story. And when you are putting out all of this content and everybody's seeing it, things can go haywire real easy, and people make mistakes. And I'm not pointing out any direct channel. I've watched about 15 different videos, and I just want people to understand that I think it is a fantastic device. I think ASUS has really done something incredible here. Truthfully, I think they sat in a boardroom and they were like, yeah, don't do that yet. Let's make the baby version first and really throw in a hell of an upgrade. And that's going to be interesting to see what the industry does. I mean, what happens with GPD? I mean, you can't really fit an 80 watt-hour battery in this. What happens with Valve? The Steam Deck, the OLED really does have a lot of room inside of it for upgrades and things of that nature. So how are you going to do that? What does Lenovo do? What does MSI do? There's a lot of questions, but I think this is incredibly good for the industry. Competition, competition, competition. And ASUS has brought their best forward. They haven't always brought their best forward in the past, but this was a great improvement. And if you're looking for the best Windows-based handheld, I think this is it. I highly, highly, highly recommend you buy it through like Best Buy or somebody like that. Get a protection plan. You are buying an $800 device. It's a lot better to have to deal with that than having to deal with ASUS. It's just not a trustworthy process. Also, I believe the protection plans at a lot of places cover accidental damage. So you drop the thing, break a thumbstick, break a screen. There might be a deductible or something, but it's at least worth looking into. So with that being said, let me know what you guys thought of this video, everybody else's video, the Ally X, the channel, anything you can think of in the comment section down below. And then my next video, I'm probably going to pull out some retro stuff because I'm just falling into that world right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.